Hey there, I'm Josh Erdman, CEO of Torchlight Marketing. We do awesome digital marketing and advertising tactics. We're the math wizards when it comes to the advertising and marketing side. So that means we're killer with pay-per-click advertising. We're awesome with SEO. We can also help you with your reputation management, leverage all those things to work together to help things work for you. And part of the way we do it, not only is it with an awesome team, but it's with a great collection of tools. So we've been doing this series called the Torchlight Marketing Toolbox. And each video is a new one on what tools are valuable for you. We go over one tool one at a time. This tool today, we're going to reach into our toolbox and talk about the Google Search Console. So what is that? Because that sounds technical, and it kind of is. It's something that we're going to geek out on a little bit. So hopefully you can hang out with me today on that. But let me give you an analogy. In your car, when you're driving, you might have a light that flashes. Sometimes it says service engine soon, and sometimes it says, that you need to pull over and get your car repaired. So what happens? You get nervous, you call your mechanic and you tell him, hey, I got my check engine light on. What's going on? And the mechanic says, oh, well, limp it over here and I will pull the codes. So in your car, where you're driving, your steering wheel is right underneath that. There's this plug in port, a diagnostic port. And they have a little computer that'll plug into that and it'll pull the error codes that is happening on the computer. Search Console is that exact same kind of thing. You use Search Console to get the error codes that Google is warning and throwing when it's trying to read your website. Now that might be surprising to you. You might be thinking, I'm looking at my website on my desktop and it looks just fine. Or maybe it looks okay on your cell phone. But the thing is that most websites aren't 1 or 2 pages. And as business owners, we don't look at all the pages all the time. And sometimes it might look good, but just like with your car, a lot of times your car might be running fine, even though it has the check engine light turned on. Same kind of thing. There's things that you might not see, but you should be aware of. And if there are any error codes that are happening, you want to know about those and you want to get those fixed, because those are ways that show Google that you're trustworthy, that you're going to fix any problems that it warns you about. And Google's going to like your website over other websites that are throwing all kinds of error codes and they're ignoring them. So we're going to take a look at that. The website we're going to go to, I'm going to put my screen share here, is called, it's called Search Console. And the domain name is search.google.com/search-console. Yes, it is that long. Normally, you don't have to type in all this kind of things, but this tool is for the geeks only. It's not that hard to use, but you want to type in search.google.com/search-console. And right here, you'll have the Start Now button to build and connect your Search Console. There's a previous video on Google Analytics. You're going to want to have Google Analytics already on your site, or access to your domain name, or access to edit your website, because Google isn't going to give this data about your website to anyone. They're only going to give it to people that Google is confident has the ability to edit the website. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here we are on our company's Search Console. You can see over the last 3 months, our traffic has been rising. That's because we're doing a lot of SEO efforts for ourselves as well. And in here, we're going to add a site. So our company is gettorchlight.com, but let's say we wanted to add another domain. We are going to create another website. Let's say it was btorchlight.com. So we're just making something up to see what that looks like. And you realize it does have to have the URL. The best URL to put in here is the actual URL of your website. So if your website is https://www, when you're browsing it, like right here, so here's our Get Torchlight website, it is the actual address that appears when you're browsing. Sometimes there's W's, sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's HTTPS, sometimes it's not. Make sure you have the right one, because that matters in this case. So back to our example here, we're going to pretend it's going to be btorchlight.com and click continue. And what's going to happen is Google is checking, is there a website that's on that address? And is there Tag Manager, or is there Google Analytics installed? And if there is, it sees that it's already installed and, oh, we're going to give you access to the site. You're in. So this one was easy. But let's try something slightly different. We're going to add a new one. This time I'm going to make up a domain. So we're going to do https://be the torch life, because I know we didn't buy that domain, so that should just go nowhere. When we continue, Google's seeing, all right, does this domain exist? And do I see that the person who's already in Search Console as access. In this case, it says it doesn't. So it's giving me 5 different ways to prove that I'm authoritative. This gets a little geeky. One of those is to download the file and save it to the website. That's kind of hard. You might have to talk to your web guy. One is an HTML tag. So if we look here, if we have the ability to edit our site, we could stick this code inside the site. It's a comment. It doesn't change what your site looks like. And when you do that and click verify and Google sees it, you've just proven to Google you have access to the site. Another one is to prove that you have access to the website's Google Analytics. That works about 90% of the time. Sometimes people will use a plugin for their Google Analytics. And when they use a plugin, the plugin doesn't look normal how Google would like to see it. So it's not going to count that one. But 90% of the time it works. Tag Manager is a little techie. And then there's also one called Domain Name Provider, which is you proving to Google that and not only do you have access to editing the site, but you have access to your GoDaddy account, or you have access to your Network Solutions account, or wherever it is you bought your domain name. And there's some instructions there on how to connect that. So that's the verification process. It might be a little tech heavy, but when you do that, you have a wealth of information of what's happening on the Google search engine with your website. We're going to look at just a couple of these today. The first one is that we can look at our timeline. So 3 months is what I would say is the bare minimum. SEO moves slow. So if you want to see how organic traffic is improving as you're adding articles or doing SEO efforts, making your website faster, you want to look at it over months at a time. So we're looking at this one over 3 months. And then the 3 ones that I find most interesting, the total number of clicks that we've gotten over time. So that would be this light blue line. You can see that it's all over the place. So not a lot of clicks creates a lot of noise. Instead, it's not a strong trend. Then there's impressions. That's how many times your website shows up in a Google search. That doesn't mean people click on it. I mean, if you're on the 4th page of Google, technically you showed up, but no one clicked on you. You can see there's a big difference between how many times we're showing up on impressions and how many clicks there are. Being a marketing company on the internet is hard because there are so many marketing companies out there. So we definitely try to differentiate ourselves in that area that some people would say are a commodity. And that's just by the excellent work that we do. The other one that you want to look at is average position. You can see a position trend here as other people are fighting for position, writing more blog articles, things like that. And for us in our company, we're doing a big shift in how we write our blog articles. So Google's getting used to some of the terminology. We're writing blog articles that are a lot more helpful and user-friendly, not as technical. And because of that, we're shifting our audience from some of the more technical people that are doing their own marketing to people that are looking for advice and guidance on how to on who to choose or tactics that they should do. A big question we get is, SEO versus pay-per-click advertising, for example. So as we're shifting, we're currently losing position, and then we'll be growing again once when we start building up a lot of articles with our new voice. Finally, so this shows us the traffic that we're getting. But the other thing that you can see here is I can see queries and the searches people are doing and what that is resulting in traffic to your website, and also what pages are driving that traffic. What pages are the most popular from Google's perspective, and what queries or searches that are happening. Now, it's pretty obvious here. You're probably wondering, what the heck is Seo Sex, and why is that one showing up? Well, we had a little bit of fun. We wrote an article called Sex, Lies, and SEO, playing off of an old movie from a long time ago. I've never seen it, but Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Sex, Lies, and SEO ended up being a pretty popular article term, and it's probably bringing a whole lot of unqualified traffic at the same time. So we had a lot of fun. People are searching for it. We rank on a high position for that search term, even though what we're providing has nothing to do with what people are searching for. But you can see that efforts on writing articles and a variety of articles can have a lot of I would say unexpected results from that. We just scratched the surface here on what's on the first page, the performance page of Google Search Console. There's so much more to deep dive into here, and I might do a part 2 on a toolbox on some of these other ones here. But if you get this far, you will get the emails from Google when there's an error, and you will also be able to see how much traffic you're getting and get a big picture view of the health that your site has and how many clicks Google and how many visits Google is sending to you from an organic search. I hope that helps. Join us again for a future episodes of the Torchlight Marketing Toolbox. You can read more about our toolbox at gettorchlight.com/toolbox. Thank you very much.